Welcome to All Grown Up Now, Tales of a Checkered Past. I'm Kenneth D. King, podcasting from my studio near Union Square in New York City. This podcast is an evolution of the tale, All Grown Up Now, A Friendship in 3 Acts. This is Season 2, and it's called Tales of a Checkered Past. It's a collection of short stories from my salad days on up to the present. In each podcast, another self-contained story will be presented. Enjoy. Episode 88 is just a short little story from my past that I call The Bishop's Pockets. In my life when I was younger, as well as now, I sometimes am not very quick on the uptake. It takes me a little longer to understand just what might be going on in a situation. And sometimes, this understanding may take years. Now, I travel around the country teaching on various aspects of sewing. One time in Toronto, I was teaching a class on pockets. During the class, I was asked the question, "What is the most unusual pocket you've ever made?" A little background is in order here. When I moved to San Francisco in 1981, I dated a bishop. Yes, Catholic. He was of an order of monks based in Baghdad, as he told me. I was young and pretty, he was older and wiser, and we both benefited from the time we spent together. The bishop, who I'll call Bishop, was also heavily involved with the Cambodian community. Understand that this was 1981, and we weren't that long out of Vietnam and Cambodia. There was quite a community of refugees there. They were generally living in the Tenderloin. Bishop was drawn to them and took it upon himself to help them. Bishop also knew that I sewed. Early on, he asked me if I could make him cassocks for everyday wear. He had a design in mind, but he didn't know how to sew it himself or have it sewn. So throughout our time together, I did pattern work and made a whole wardrobe of cassocks as well as some liturgical vestments. It really was my first professional commission. In that collection of garments, Bishop wanted also some special undergarments as he was traveling to Cambodia regularly. The weather was warmer there, he said, so these garments, which he designed, looked like long tank tops out of black cotton broadcloth that buttoned all the way down the front. "Is it possible," he asked one day, "to make pockets in these?" "Sure," I replied. "You can have any way you want. I can make the pockets anywhere. Where do you want them and what size?" Bishop drew out a series of pockets all along the hem of the undergarment. These pockets were about 3 inches wide, about 7 inches deep, and had Velcro flaps to close them. Really, the entire lower edge of the garment, one series of pockets. Bishop took out a dollar bill to show me. "It needs to be larger than this," he said. And I made them. Because he could have it any way he wanted, and I could make him anything. So it was this design that I drew out for my students that day in Toronto. I sketched the undergarment on the whiteboard, outlined the pockets, and talked about the dimensions and the Velcro flaps. Then, and only then, after all those years, it dawned on me. Like I said, all those years, it was about 25 years later. Looking at the students, I said, he was smuggling. And by making the undergarments, could I have been charged as an accessory to the crime? There were some blank looks from the students. He was going to Cambodia regularly, which explains the pocket size and the car and driver the room full of silver, and the no apparent visible means of support. One lady raised her hand and suggested that they weren't really following where I was going with this lesson, which got me back on topic. As I said earlier, I was slow on the uptake. At the time, it never occurred to me what was going on all those years ago. I was just excited to be designing. Thanks for listening. You can get the audiobook All Grown Up Now on iTunes, Audible, and Amazon, or from my website, allgrownupnow.com. You can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Spotify, and Google Play. If you have any questions, you can reach me through the website, allgrownupnow.com. You can follow me on Instagram at Kenneth D. King, on Facebook at Kenneth D. King Design, or on my main website, kennethdking.com.